Hello and welcome back. So in the last video we installed the code editor, we chose Visual Studio Code, and what we did was we made a blank HTML file called helloworld.html. There was absolutely nothing in it, and I showed you that if you go to that file and you go and find it on your computer and you open it, it's going to open it up in the browser. So on my computer it opens it up in the Chrome browser, and as you can see there's just nothing there. The file path is telling me it's looking at the right file, but there's nothing to present because there's nothing in my HTML file. So today what I'm going to show you is how to enter some content between tags so that you can actually present your code the way you want to in the browser. So just to make this a bit easier on you, I'm going to zoom in. So if I hold down Command and plus, if I do that a few times, then it just means you can read this easier because you can be watching this on YouTube. Okay, right, so let's do a few things. So if I just type in, everyone always starts with hello world, don't they? If I type in hello world, that's kind of valid code, and I'll prove that it's valid code because it's going to show up in my browser. Let me just save this. If I put file, save, whoops, it's the same if I put Command S. There we go. And now I switch over to the browser and then I refresh the page. There we go. It's printed the words that I wrote down. Now I say it's valid code. It's obviously rubbish code because it's not very exciting. But you'll notice, even though I only typed in hello world, the Chrome browser has interpreted that and said, okay, well, I'm going to put it up in the top left. I'm going to make it black. I'm going to make it, I think it's 16 pixel font. And it's Times New Roman. You know, all these things are just decisions that the Chrome browser has made when interpreting my file. And unless I tell it otherwise, it's going to stay like that. If I want the text red, I need to tell Chrome to present it in red. So for the moment, I've just given text, and I can write text all day and just keep saving it and then going back and refreshing it, and it shows more text. It's not that interesting, but it just kind of shows you that's how it works. Now, one thing you need to know about this is that when you type stuff into a code editor, it's not always going to appear exactly the same way in the browser. So an example of that is if I was to do a break here and put the word world on line 2 and then I save it, you could be forgiven for thinking that if I refresh this page, it's going to say hello, and then on line number 2, it's going to say world, but it doesn't. It just says hello world. And that's because there isn't like a direct correlation between what you're seeing in your code editor and what you're seeing in the browser. It just doesn't kind of work that way. So I could just do a million breaks and I could save it and it's still not going to make any difference. Like I'm refreshing the page, doesn't make any difference at all. So you just need to understand that the code editor and the browser aren't always going to look the same because the browser interprets your HTML file. Okay, so there we go. If I just put it back to where it was and refresh the page, nothing's actually happened. Right, so this video is all about entering content in tags. So when you're writing a HTML file, what you're really doing is putting content between tags, and then the browser is going to interpret what you've done and present it back to you. Okay. So an example of this, I'll show you. Okay. Now I know that there's a HTML tag that looks like this. Okay. It's an arrow. It's the letter B and then another arrow. So what I've done is I've only typed in that little bit on the left, but because this code editor knows that I'm using HTML, I mean, it's pretty obvious. It says it up here and it says it down here. It knows that if I create an opening tag, then it needs a closing tag. And so what happens is you want to put your content between the two tags. So let's just get that second bit that it gave me. I'm going to cut it and put it at the end. Now this looks way more like valid HTML. What I have is I have some content that says hello world, but it's between two tags. It's between the opening tag, which just says between arrows B, and then the ending tag looks exactly the same, but there's this extra slash just at the front. And so that there is hello world between two tags, and this tag B means make whatever's in the middle bold. That's what the B tag does. So let's just save that and then go to my browser and refresh. And what you can see has happened is that the Chrome browser has understood that B tag means make it bold, which is great. Okay, so I can come back here and using that break thing again, if I was to do this, what do you expect to happen? We know what's going to happen. It's not going to look any different at all. So I can refresh the screen and it's exactly the same. So let's just put this back to where it was. There we go. Okay, right, now what if I only wanted the word hello to be bold? Then all I need to do is to move the position of that closing tag. So if I just pick up that one and cut it and then paste it here. What I've got now, just so you can see, is the word hello is between the tags. So the word hello is going to be bold, and then the word world is going to come after it, but it's not going to be in bold. Let's just check that's the case. I've saved it, and then I'll refresh the page, and that's exactly what I expected. Hello is in bold, and world is not in bold. Sorry, I've just realized that when I tap my keys, it's really loud, isn't it? So I'll try and be a bit quieter. Okay, so there we go. So we've done a bit of valid HTML there. Now, the other thing I'll show you is there's another tag. Let's do another tag, which is I. So I means italics. We know I can keep hitting break and it won't make any difference. Let me put it about here so it's easy to see. So let's do the I tag. Okay, so I do my little arrow, I, and then I close it. Again, thank you, code editor. You've told me I need the closing tag, but you've put it in the wrong place. So I'll cut that and I'll put that at the end, and then I'll save it. So what's going to happen now? We're going to get hellos in bold, and then world is going to be in italics. So let's have a look. And there we go. That's exactly what we expected. Good. Now, the other thing you can do in HTML is not just put content between tags, but you can nest the tags. All right. So what we're going to do here is let's just delete all of this. The way you'd normally write code is you do, let's say something like this. You would say, right, I want in bold, and I'm going to go for hello. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you nested tags here. So let's just bring hello down here so it makes it really obvious what's going on. Hello is clearly between the tags. Now, it makes sense to indent your code so that you can kind of see what's going on, because at the moment that looks as if it's all at the same kind of hierarchy. But if I hit tab, then it kind of just makes it easier to see that that's the starting tag, that's the end, and then there's something in the middle, hello, okay? So what I'm going to do is let's go about here, and now I'm going to do my italic tags. Okay, let's tab it because it's between those two tags. And if I do my I tag, and then in the middle I'm going to put world, then think about what's happening here. I've got hello and world are both between the bold tags, but world is between the I tags. Now, it's valid to put everything on one line if you want, or you could break it so it looks a little bit prettier. Let's have a look. So there we go. So now you can kind of see how it's nested. We've got hello, and then all of this stuff is between bold. So both of them are going to be bold. And then world is between the I tags. So if I save that, and then I go to the browser, then just check what's going to happen. Both bold, but world is going to be in italics. So there we go. So both are bold, but world is in italics. And so you can kind of see how coding works in that you add your tags, you put content in the middle of them, and then the browser interprets that and shows you what it looks like. Now, this code looks awful, and you don't want to share this with your friends. You'd want to kind of clean it up. So we don't like massive spaces unless we need them. I mean, maybe you like having a bit of space, but that looks a little bit nicer. But to be honest, you might think that this is a bit overkill, and so what you would do is you would put the tags all on the same line. So let's put the I tags on the same line, and then you could even say, let's just bring everything across. There we go, and then the bold tag at the end. So that's equally valid as well. I find that a little bit harder to read because it's not as obvious. That's why indentation works out really well. Okay, great. So that's what we mean by entering content between tags. And then the final thing I'll show you now is just the main tags that you would use when creating a HTML document. So let's just start again. So because we're making a HTML document, what we're going to do is we're going to put everything inside a HTML tag. So a HTML tag looks like this. It's arrow HTML and then close the arrow. Now I'm going to do some massive breaks because I want some space in the middle. And that's the start. I've got my HTML. And then there's two sections within the HTML document. There's the head that goes at the top and then the body that goes at the bottom, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to indent them because they're within the HTML. So I'm going to write head within my little arrows, and it gives me my closing tag, which is great. And then down here, sorry, I'm going to write body and then close that tag. So now I've got head and the body, and I'm going to put stuff in the head and I'm going to put stuff in the body. So let's just give a bit of a break there and a bit of a break there. So hopefully this is still pretty clear what's going on. The head and the body are clearly between the HTML tags. I haven't put anything in the head and I haven't put anything in the body yet. So let's put some stuff in there. Now, the things between the head aren't actually going to appear on the page. They're more like instructions about the file. So I can type something in here, or I could actually put some information in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another tag. Let's just give a bit more breaks. Another tag is called title. Okay, so if I write something in the title, like tab title, this is going to appear in the tab just up here. So where it says hello-world.html, if there's a title tag, it's going to use that instead. So let's just try that. If I hit save and then come across, that has now changed to tab title because I've put it in the title tags in the head. Great. Now the body is what's going to actually appear on the page. So this is where I would normally write my hello world. So if I save that and come back and refresh it, I've now got my body, which is on the page, and then my title, which is in the tab. So hopefully that's pretty clear that we've got the HTML tags for the whole document. This is annoying, isn't it? The HTML, every time I hover over something. You've got the HTML tags, and then between that you've got the head, which are things that aren't going to appear on the page, and then the body are things that are going to appear on the page. And so in the next video we're going to look at some of the extra tags that we can use in the body to start actually writing some code and having something that's quite useful. There we go. So I'll see you in the next video.